history of pandemic begins with the dawn of civilization. Once the civilization expanded into vast trading kingdoms, the possibility for widespread diseases also increased. First major pandemic was during the rule of Byzantine Emperor Justinian I in the 6th century, commonly known as Bubonic Plague. Outbreak began in Egypt and moved along sea route trade to present Turkey. Over the next half century, the pandemic spread westward to the port cities of Mediterranean and eastward into Persia. Modern researchers concluded that plague was spread by domestic black rats which traveled in sea-going vessels and proliferated in the crowded, unhygienic cities of the era. Millions of people died and even led to the fall of Roman Empire. Next plague pandemic was Dead Black Death in 14th century in Europe. 25 million people of Europe died due to Black Death. After those last outbreak during 1720, plague seemed to have disappeared from Europe. Major reasons were progress in sanitation, hospitalization, cleanliness, changing domestic housing that excluded black rats from human dwellings, reduced use of old trade routes, and beginning of new trade routes. Third plague pandemic during the 18th and early part of 19th century continued to prevail in Turkey, North Africa, Egypt, Greece, and India. Between 1894 and 1922, disease spread throughout the world with more than 10 million deaths. Of all the areas affected, India suffered the most. Third plague pandemic was the last, for it coincided with a series of achievements in the scientific understanding of the disease. By the end of 19th century, germ theory of disease came by the work of great scientists like Louis Pasteur, Joseph Lister, and Robert Koch. In 1894, during the epidemic in Hong Kong, the organism that causes plague was isolated independently by two bacteriologists, Alexander Yersin and Kita Sato. Both men found bacteria in the fluid samples taken from plague victims. Yersin named Bacillus as Pasteurella pestis, but in 1970, the bacterium was renamed as Yersinia pestis in honor of Yersin. In 1920s, research in India by various foreign scientists proved that rat fleas carry pathogens from the rats to humans. In the beginning of 1930s, sulfa drugs and antibiotics such as streptomycin gave doctors a very effective means of attacking the plague bacillus directly. Some positive outcomes from the dark era of pandemic. Plague outbreak of 1917 in Ahmedabad killed 10% of city population. During this time, the laborers were given a bonus up to 80% of their wages to prevent laborers from quitting the job for the fear of plague. When the plague threat was over, this bonus was withdrawn and the laborers started agitation under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi against it. And this became the part of our freedom fight. In 1665, Isaac Newton had to work from home when the University of Cambridge closed due to bubonic plague. It was the most productive period of his life. At that time, he discovered gravity. Human race had defeated many pandemics. We will overcome the current situation. Together, we dream for a better world. Like the video if you like and please subscribe.